But in 2018, when I saw the collusion taking place between the big tech companies to censor people, I knew in my heart that we were in for the ride and the battle of our life. Free speech and the First Amendment is under the most egregious attack it has ever been in the history of our nation. We've never seen anything like this before. And it's intentional. It is not unintended consequence of an otherwise bad luck virus that got loose from some lab in whoever, Wuhan or anywhere else. This is an intentional attack, just as intentional as the Great Panic of 2020 was, to crush our ability to communicate with each other. And the First Amendment is all about communication. Freedom of religion, number one, communication with God. Are churches being shut down? Yes, they are. Last year, were churches told how to conduct service? Yes, they were. Most of them knuckled under. Wear a mask, social distance. No, you can't play your instruments on the stage because you don't all fit up there. You have to social distance. So some of you go home and do it on Zoom and we'll pipe you in or whatever. I mean, it's crazy stuff. You couldn't have a gathering of more than 50 people or 25 people or whatever, even if you had a church of 5,000. It's insane. You have freedom of speech then, our ability to communicate. You have the freedom of the press to write and communicate like many of you do. And many of you have experienced censorship already. And it's getting worse and worse. The noose is tightening. And then you have the right to assemble like we're doing right now. We're assembling peaceably, I might add. Without the right to assemble, which is under attack now again, because here comes the whole pandemic thing again. Great Panic is reviving. Groups like this may not be meeting again very long, at least without getting fined or, the police showing up at the door or whatever. And then lastly, you have the right of the people to redress the government for grievances. I don't know if any of you have been talking to your government lately, but they don't tend to listen to you, do they? It's hard to even get a hold of some offices. Last year, most of them went home and hid in their closets and stuff and did business on Zoom, but they didn't come, you couldn't get a hold of them. You couldn't get answers. You couldn't get them to think about anything. All of these things are under attack. And when I saw that big tech was triangulating against people to shut them up, this is comparable of what happened in Bolshevik Russia. It's comparable of what happened in Nazi Germany. It's comparable of what happened in Cambodia, in Rhodesia, in Mozambique, in South American countries. It's been done in all those places. This is why history matters. They're doing it to us. We got to stop this and fight it. So we started Citizens for Free Speech, and last year it went nuts. When the pandemic hit, people just started flocking to us in droves. Our membership now is nationwide membership is now over 33,000, and we're growing exponentially. I'm going to ask all of you before you leave this conference that you put your name on our list. It's free, doesn't cost a nickel. It's free speech after all. And get involved with is to save what's left of the First Amendment. It's going to take every one of us to be involved. And to the extent that we can help you defend your right to the First Amendment, we want to do that. We want to help you to do that and bring forces to bear that will bring the spotlight to your situation. And I know some of you have a situation. We're doing all kinds of cool things. We have training programs to help people learn how to communicate again and how to be effective in the civic arena, how to restore even relationships, family relationships that have been broken up by this stupid Great Panic of 2020. We're producing a bunch of collateral and stuff. Some of it you have on the table. We left our action cards, one of our action cards there for you. We've been producing brochures that were written for us by one of our great friends and most effective volunteers, Dr. Russell Blaylock. Many of you know Russell, retired neurosurgeon, but he's a great medical prowess. And we've launched a private social network for our local activists as well to communicate with an encrypted, non-mineable, non-discoverable type of a social media platform to hook up with people of like-minded people in communities that want to take action. We're promoting meetups around the country as well. Some of you remember the Ron Paul revolution. You were active in it perhaps, and what really put him in a national prominence was the spontaneous meetups that happen all over the country. People say, hey, let's go meet up in the park or something. And 25, 30, 40, 50 people would show up all of a sudden, sometimes with a cold drink, sometimes with lunch, whatever. And they just met and they talked about issues. Meetups are incredibly effective. And so I want to encourage you to get involved with us. And Jeremy was gracious enough to allow our deputy director, who's over here, Kimberly Miller, to come down to Tucson with us. We're based in Mesa, so it was a short drive. And Kimberly will be out at the table as well, and you can talk to her about stuff. You can talk to me about stuff. My wife, Charmaine, will be there too. You can talk to her about stuff as well. And I don't know how long we have left to keep the First Amendment free speech alive, but if we don't, at this point, if we don't keep it alive, you realize what the consequences will be, right?